I started with the acrylic 5-gallon bowl because I wanted the entire build to feel like a preserved world. The first major material I used was lava rock, and lava rock is perfect for this because it's naturally porous. Those tiny holes and pockets give it texture, grip, and depth. But more importantly, the porous structure gives beneficial bacteria and microorganisms more surface area to live on. So even though it looks like I'm just stacking rocks, I'm actually creating the skeleton of the ecosystem. Every lava rock had to be tested, balanced, turned, and repositioned until it created the right cave shape. I wanted it to feel natural and not like a pile of rocks. I wanted depth, I wanted shadows, I wanted an entrance that pulled your eye inward. So I used aquarium-safe silicone to secure the lava rocks together. This part is important because regular glue is unsafe and in humid terrarium environments can kill off your microfauna. Aquarium-safe silicone is designed to cure in a stable material that can handle moisture. Once the rocks were locked into place, I let the silicone fully cure. And this is one of those steps that looks boring, but it matters. If the structure isn't fully cured properly, the whole cave can shift later. After the rock structure dried, I started building the base layers. The first layer was LECA. LECA stands for Lightweight Expandable Clay Aggregate. Basically, the little clay balls create a drainage zone at the bottom. That way, extra water has somewhere to go instead of sitting directly around the plant's roots. Then I added activated charcoal. Activated charcoal helps with filtration. It can absorb impurities and help keep the environment clean over time. Then I added sphagnum moss, and sphagnum moss acts like a barrier for moisture. It helps create the drainage layer from the soil layer while it still holds humidity. Then I added organic topsoil. Finally, worm castings. Worm castings are basically worm poop, but in a terrarium, they are gold. They add nutrients, microbes, and organic matter into the system. This is what helps turn the substrate into something biologically active instead of just dirt. After the base was done, I added a blue light feature. I wrapped the light around the rock so the cave would glow from the inside of the structure. This was the moment where it started to look less like a plant bowl and more like a fantasy cave. The blue gives it a bioluminescent feel, like something underground is alive or mystical or magical. And then I built the back wall. I wanted the cave to feel enclosed and not open and flat, so I created a wall behind the rock structure and filled the areas along the side with smaller lava rocks. This gave the whole build more depth and made the cave feel like it continued into the background. I also wrapped my blue lighting feature around the back of the cave too to add in depth. Then I added a corkboard ceiling. This was one of my favorite ideas in the whole build and not something I was originally going to use, but I needed some sort of ceiling and I didn't have any slate, so I improvised with this goal. The goal is that one day the roots may grow through the cork and hang down into the cave, almost like an underground root system breaking through the ceiling. That would make the cave look even more natural and awesome over time. I then made my terrarium putty. This was a mix of soil, worm castings, and clay. The clay ratio was about 1 part to 3 parts soil mix. I wanted the putty to hold shape, but still be soft enough for roots to grow through. If you add too much clay, it'll literally turn into cement and dry up, the crust, and it's not good. Too little clay doesn't hold enough structure, so the goal was a root-friendly base with enough strength to stay where I placed it. I pressed the putty into areas where I wanted the plants and roots to grow, and then I topped it off with more soil. This gave the plant something natural to settle into. For the plants, I wanted everything to match the glowing cave theme, so I chose plants with natural purple elements. First, Transdescantia has this nice silver and purple shimmer that almost looks magical under light. Then I got Purple Passion plant. The Purple Passion has tiny little purple hairs on the leaves, which gives it a soft, fuzzy textured look, which looks, I don't know, it looks like a weed, but it looks magical. And of course, the polka dot plant. Every terrarium artist loves these plants. Then I added moss from my propagation bin. Moss instantly makes the build feel older, like the cave has already been there for years. Before planting, I separated the plant at the roots. This helps divide them into smaller sections so that the plant can be placed more naturally through the terrarium. Instead of one big clump, you get little pockets of growth. For the polka dot plant, I propagated it and used rooting powder. Rooting powder helps encourage root development, especially when the plant has been divided or stressed during planting. It gives the plant a better chance to establish itself in the new substrate. Then I carefully laid the plants into the soil and putty area. I wanted the planting to feel like it was natural, slowly reclaiming the cave. Not too perfect, not too symmetrical. More like the plant found its own way in. After the plants were settled, I added the mushrooms. These mushrooms were made from epoxy clay and took me a long time. It was very tedious. I painted acrylic glow-in-the-dark paint over them, and then I sealed it with Aquarium-safe silicone. Originally, I made these teardrops to kind of hang from the ceiling of the cave, but once I started placing them, they looked better as glowing totems leading into the entrance of the cave. And this is where the lava rock helped again. Because of its natural vesicles, I was able to anchor the mushroom stems directly into the rock. That made them feel integrated, like they were actually growing from the structure. And finally, the most important step, microfauna, springtails and isopods. These organisms regulate decomposition, consume mold, and recycle nutrients back into the ecosystem. So instead of the terrarium slowly getting dirty, the cleanup crew helps convert waste back into food for the ecosystem. That's what makes this terrarium bioactive. It's not just plants sitting in dirt, it has layers: drainage, filtration, soil biology, root systems, microfauna, moisture cycles, decomposition, regeneration. Every part has a job. The lava rock gives structure and microbial surface, the LECA controls drainage, the charcoal supports filtration, the sphagnum moss holds humidity, the soil feeds the plants, the worm castings feed the soil, the clay holds structure, the plants create life and texture, the moss creates age and atmosphere, the mushrooms create fantasy cave effect, the springtails control the mold, the isopods break down waste, and the lights turn the whole thing into something that almost feels otherworldly. That's why this build is more complex than it looks, because when you build a terrarium like this, you're not just designing something pretty, you're trying to create balance. Over time, the roots should begin exploring the substrate, the moss should spread, the cleanup crew should multiply, the soil should become richer, the plants should adapt to the environment, and hopefully one day roots will grow through the cork ceiling and hang down into the cave. That's the part I'm most excited for, because this build isn't finished when the video ends, it's gonna keep changing. And that's what makes bioactive terrariums so addictive, because you don't just build them once, you watch them evolve. A week from now it might look different, a month from now the moss might spread, 6 months from now the cave might look like it's been swallowed by plants, and that's the magic.